So, our topic for today is all about the fundamentals of group dynamics. When we talk about the fundamentals of group dynamics, it talks about the importance of group dynamics, and we were about to discuss to you the components of group and the meaning of group. So, group defined as two or more persons engaged in a social interaction or in a conversation, which is I considered very common to us, and we all know what group is. Also, group is composed of individuals who have come together to accomplish a particular task or goal. So, group has consists of persons, two or more than persons, which has a common goal or interest in doing certain things and task to accomplish with. So how can we say that, or how can we consider a certain circle of friends a group? So we can consider them, or we can call them it a group if the individuals or the members within a group have a common goal, and the individual members have developed status and role relationships with respect to one another. So, in a group, there are relationship that was built. So, we will next tackle about the group dynamics. Group dynamics, it talks about the social process by which people interact in a small group or in a face-to-face manner. It is also the attitudinal and behavioral characteristic of a group, and group dynamics more on talks about the force that exists in a certain group. So dynamics comes from the Greek word dynamis, which means force. So there are two forces found in a small group, or two important historical landmarks, and it came from Elton Mayo and his associates in 1920s and 1930s, and the experiments of Kurt Lewin by 1930s. So, according to Elton Mayo and his associates, workers tend to establish formal groups. So, in a certain work, all of the employees build a relationship, and through relationship they can establish formal groups that clearly affect job satisfaction and effectiveness, because if they have a common goal, which is to accomplish a certain work, then the effectiveness exists, the works become easily done. And according to Kurt Lewin, different kinds of leadership attitudes produce different responses on groups. So it bases on the leadership of a certain group. If the leader has a good attitude, then it produces a good response in his or her members within their groups. So concepts of social group. San Juan and Centeno 2011 present that psychologically, man is said to be a rational being. Politically, he is a political and power-seeking being. Theologically, he is a religious and God-seeking being. And sociologically, man is a gregarious social being seeking the company of other beings. The saying "no man is an island" explains that a person cannot live satisfactorily by himself or herself alone. So it means that a certain person cannot live without a partner. His satisfactions in his or her needs and wants, as well as her or his happiness, depends to a large degree upon his or her association with other people. So, special properties of groups. The special properties of groups are illustrated in a simple logical error in the world of mathematics according to San Juan and Centeno 2011. Now, why is it 1 plus 1 is equals to 3? The thing is, 1 is, let us say, a couple, a girl and a boy. Romantically, a girl and a boy, when they merge within each other, um, 1 plus 1 is equal to 3. A boy and a girl produces a new relationship and builds another relationship within each other. So what makes it 3 is that 3 is what what the two couples builds, and it was the relationship. So 1 plus 1, girl and boy, is equal to relationship. Next is the group types are classified as formal or informal in nature. So the thing is, the group has a formal and informal components. So formal work groups are established by an organization to achieve its goals, while informal groups are formed naturally in response to the common interests and shared values. So the formal works groups, those are the groups that established, or those are the people or a group of people that has a common interest to achieve a common task or goal, while informal groups are those person who responds according to their to what is the needed or the needed response in a certain situation. So that there are two, according to San Juan Centeno, groups are generally classified as follows: primary group and secondary group. Primary group are those Primary group are the groups that are characterized by intimate face-to-face association and cooperation. It fundamentally forms the social nature and ideals of an individual. Sympathy and mutual identification involves that serves as natural expression. So in primary group, the key word here is that in primary group, intimate face-to-face of every members exist, while in secondary group, in contrary of intimate face-to-face, the members are not, they do not communicate personally. They actually communicate through um, technology. It consists of members who are aware and cognizant of personal relationships, but they do not feel that their lives are bound with another except in time of social crisis. In secondary group, the members may be separated from one another by distance or by a lack of personal physical contact. Nevertheless, they can share their interest through correspondence, press, radio, telephone, or other means. So, there are 6 characteristics of a group. The first one is the interaction, is the pattern of mutual influence, either physical, verbal, non-verbal, emotional, and etc. So, through interaction, the mutual identification of every member will happen, resulting to a good communication and good relationship within a group. Number 2, structure is a stable pattern of relationships. So in a group, there are structure that we must considered or follow. Now, letter A, rules deal with the behavior expected of members in a given position. Letter B, Norms are the rules that identify and describe appropriate behavior. Letter C. Inter-member relations are influenced by authority and communication. So in a group, we are aware that there are really rules that we must follow in order to attain a healthy and peaceful communication with each members. Letter number 3. Goals are the reasons for existence. Of course, if in a certain group, if they don't have a goal, then what's the purpose of a group? We can't consider it a group if it doesn't or it do not have a goal. Number 4, perceived groupness is the extent in which members see themselves as one. Common faith, similarity, proximity. As I said, in a certain group, if you have a common faith, similarities, or interest in different things, then the effectiveness of your group is very strong, and the your relationship or the relationship of each members within a group cannot be um break. Number 5, dynamic interdependency occurs when the members are active, energized, vibrant, and changing. Number 6, motivation focuses on personal needs, which, when attained, lead to satisfaction. So there are kinds of formal groups, which is three kinds. Yeah, three kinds. The first one is the command groups. When we talks about the command groups, it is specified by the organizational chart and often composed of a leader and the members who directly report to him or her. When we talks about command groups, um, it leader and the members only exist. For example, the chair and the faculty members. It is the perfect example in which the faculty members reported to his or her chair and tackles about something. Then number 2, task groups. So from the word task, those are the people who work together to achieve a common task in a specified time. So in task group, there are no longer leader and member. It only depends on the rules of a group if they will vote for their leader or to come up with a leader to guide them. So example, project group. So all of them are involved since they have a common task to achieve. Number 3, functional groups. So functional groups are created by an organization to accomplish specific goals within an unspecified time frame. They continue to function even after their goals have been achieved. So from the word function, so it involves a person who has a rule in a certain group. Example, a sales and marketing department. They are considered a group since they work in one department and their work continues even after their first goal have been achieved. So kinds of informal groups. There are three kinds of informal group. The first one is the interest groups. When it talks about the interest groups, it talks about the persons engaged in a certain group who has a common interest, usually continue over time and may last longer than general and formal groups. Goals and objectives are specific to each group. For example, the students who come together to form a study group for a specific class, since they have a common interest, which is to study a specific class, they are considered as interest groups, even if they don't have the same interest in various things, at least in studying a specific class, then they are considered as interest groups. Number two, friendship groups, from the word friendship. So those are the groups that in considered are formed by individuals who enjoy similar social activities, political beliefs, religious values, or other common bonds. For example, students who have an exercise group or meet up for a so-called jamming. Number three, reference groups. Reference groups composed of people who are evaluated for social validation and social comparison. Social validation allows individuals to justify their attitudes and value, while social comparison helps individuals evaluate their own actions by comparing themselves with others. So, in a group, meeting is convened for different purposes, either for advice, decision making, negotiation toward things, coordination, and creative thinking, or deep analysis towards a problem that exists in a certain group. A committee holds a specific time of meeting. Of course, the one who has a higher rank in a specific group, on a certain group, holds or has the ability to, or he or she has the ability to hold a specific type of meeting. If he or she says that there will be meeting in this coming to the at this time to, then you have no you cannot say no, because the it is your committee that says. A meeting of five people seems to be preferred for typical situations, according to Davis 1982, which is true because in a certain group, if you only have a less number of people or members, then then there is a big possibility, that the conflicts or bigger conflicts will happen, since if there are only small members, then there will be a difficulty functioning because conflicts of power develop. If the members of a certain group rises above 7, then communication tends to become centralized and effective because members do not have adequate opportunity to communicate with one another. Kasi po, kung maliit lang po ang bilang ng mga tao sa isang grupo, madali po silang madali lang para sa kanilang magkaisa at magplano kung sakali po hindi nila nagustuhan ang plano ng kanilang leader. So, a bigger conflicts will happen if only small numbers or maliit lang ang bilang ng mga tao na napabilang sa isang grupo. Pero, kung sa isang grupo may mahigit 7 miyembro, then ang communication po nila will become effective because sa dami po nila, hindi po lahat sila magkakaisa, and they do not have time to centralize their topic if they do not their decision is not adequate to what is the decision of the leader. Forming a group is important to every human being because he or she needs a companion for the rest of his or her life. However, regulation must be imposed and followed for the smooth existence of any group. So, the Saint No Man is an island again. It says that a person cannot live without another person. So he tends to needs a companion for the rest of his or her life. So in forming a group, there's nothing wrong in forming a group um or participating with it, or actively participating with it. However, if in a group, kinakailangan po ang regulation, ang mga rules na dapat ma-follow ng every member para po sa effectiveness of a group, at para po magtagal ang kung anong relationship ang nabuo. So, in conclusion, formal groups po, again, they are the persons, or it consists of persons who has a common goal or task to achieve. In informal groups, the members are free to ask someone to join them, and in informal groups, they only tend to work in accordance to the occurrence that happen or exist in a certain time. So that ends our report, and I hope you understand.